I knew I was failing every moment in that room with them that night with the lions. I mean, they were all these men, and they were all a lot older than me. I was really young, and they all had white hair. I mean, they were genuinely a lot older than me. And they were asking all these questions about, like, how would I staff it? How would I run it? How would I fund it? How would I get food? And I kept saying, I don't know. That's a good question. I don't know. So, you know, each question that went on and on, my stomach was just shredding and my napkin in front of me was peeling, and I didn't know their answers. So I was just sitting there feeling like I'm failing. I'm not able to even give them those next steps. All I am is at the starting point. This is all I know. But I think what was exchanged was honesty. You know, if I could look back and say maybe what was the hook, it was maybe the truth. We have a problem. We all knew that. They saw the kids on the street too. They knew kids were out there. That wasn't the question. So we all knew that was that. And maybe what was exchanged that night was truth.
I was the spark in the woman's eye. We all asked those questions. This woman is so naive. How could she possibly start this thing up? But it just kind of got a hold of us. And I said, you know, why not give it a try? And that's when Bob Bavay said, heck with giving her money. Let's just buy her a house. But it really was. You could, Sayre had that spark that just ignited people.
It was, sure, it was risky. We knew that. We knew that was a risk. And anytime you give money away or try to do something, it's always somewhat of a risk. But I think the other thing that captured us was that this was something new, that we might get into the ground floor of something, and if it worked, that would be exciting. And I think we thought that too. A little bit of magic. I think there was a little bit of pixie dust that Sayre brought into the room that day, and we were lucky enough to be participating in it.
Yeah, something happened in there. My maybe passion and their experience and wisdom were able to connect and make something a lot better happen than ever could have happened without them. It just couldn't have happened without them. They became the credibility. They became the answers that were needed. They became the resources. I mean, really, I just got to float on their tail.
Because a lot of these young people were in a position where they just didn't know how to do things for themselves because they'd never been taught that. They'd never been given the direction that they would now find with Cocoon House if they had the opportunity to actually be housed there. And get that direction they needed in their life to get through their many, many problems, like I said, whether it was pregnancy, drug abuse, alcohol abuse, or different life's issues that they just couldn't deal with prior to that. Cocoon House now gave us, as well as these young people, some place to go and have some hope that they could turn around their lives with good assistance that was constructive, not necessarily just this is what you need to do. They were with them every step of the way.
So it seemed to me that if we could get our arms around these kids in time, rather than them being a drain on society, we could make them an integral part of society. So for me, it was giving these kids maybe a second chance or the first chance of having a family and getting some guidance that would help them understand what not that it's the right path, but it's a path that would meet their expectations, and some guidance along that way. So to me, it was an opportunity for these kids to really have a chance to succeed in however they define success in their life.
Eventually the kids buy into it, and they work wonders. It's amazing to see, you know, to see these kids go from really having no faith in their community, no faith in adults, because we've really let them down as adults. You know, it's a lot of times it's families, community, but they're in a place where they don't trust anybody. And once you break through that barrier, you see amazing changes.
I think it's important for people to understand that for all of us that had mothers and fathers that cared, for all of us that didn't have to worry about where we're going to sleep on any particular day of the week and where our next meal was going to come from, that we had a safe place to go and people to tell things to. You know, let's face it, there are kids out there that just don't have that opportunity, and that's what we do.
And I think that my interest in the teenagers is that I felt like they had tremendous potential, and that if we could see them as resources rather than as trash, we would gain a lot as a community. And so I think leaving them to sort of linger and not receive any kind of support so that they could not sort of open up into what their light inside of them is was a tremendous loss to us as a community.